Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Overcoming Graduation with Brian Drury, a show where I work to teach you everything I wished I'd known about life to help you graduate to the next level on your own. Today is another installment of the Morning Commute, where I take my ride to work in the morning to share a short but powerful message with you to help you kick your day off on the right foot. And today's message is this: S.T.A.Y. I was at a conference a couple years ago, listening to a speaker by the name of Susan Leahy. And Susan is an incredible woman, very powerful, very charismatic, and very genuine. She's a person that, when she speaks, there's an authenticity to her words that you feel. It's a very visceral thing. It's not like the words that are said well, they're thrown out well, but the energy or the intent or the focus or the passion behind it isn't there. Because we've all been there. If you think about a moment in your life where you were listening to someone either present maybe at your work, someone presenting from a stage, and they were saying all the words, but the energy and the emotion behind it was just not there. I remember my first job when I worked at a major company, and I won't specify the name of the company, but the company made toilet paper, diaper, paper towels, like unexciting consumer goods. And I remember one of the VPs up there, great guy, really awesome guy. He was up on stage, and he was talking about it, and talking about the product, and whether or not it was authentic, I didn't feel it. Like, when he said, we are so excited about our products, and we cannot wait for this next introduction, and we know we've got the best products out there, and I am so excited to really bring it to the world. Like, I'm not saying everyone needs to be a football coach giving a pregame speech, but there's a point where there's something that clicks differently when you feel the authenticity of the words people are saying, and deep down, when you feel the authenticity of the words you're saying, it ignites something incredible, because when we're willing to be honest with ourselves and then with others, really wild, beautiful things can happen. So I'm listening to Susan speak, and she does some things that I'm like, all right, they're not my favorite. And speakers, all right, everyone stand up, everyone do this, everyone say, I can, I believe, or, it's like that stuff. I'm like, all right, I will do it, I'll go along with it, but it's not my favorite. But the interesting thing is about trying things that aren't your norm, aren't the things that you're most comfortable with, is that you start to try on different hats, different pairs of shoes. I don't know why those came up as the analogy, but you try on a different way of doing things. You try on things you wouldn't normally do, and you see what you like and you don't. And the interesting thing, too, is just because you don't like it once or in a certain circumstance doesn't mean you never will, or that you never could, or that it's something that that's just not for me because I tried it that one time. Doesn't mean we have to try and do everything or like everything, but it's just keeping the open mind to new experiences and new ideas. And during this speech, Susan shared a very, very powerful lesson. Something that I have been getting reminders of repeatedly in multiple different areas of my life from multiple different sources. So that's something that's very key, is when you start to hear the same message over and over, you start to see the same message over and over, there's a reason. Also, if you see and you perceive that everyone around you is acting a certain way all of a sudden, the much more likely, and I'm going to say the reason in just about every case, is that you're experiencing that emotion and projecting that out. Because I've been doing that. I've been doing that a lot recently. And it's something I know we all do as human beings, where if I'm feeling stressed, I can project out that everyone else is stressed and they're pressuring me to get things done or to be there to do that, and therefore they're adding to my stress, and so then I'm playing the victim. If I'm feeling down or sad, I can look around and be like, man, why? I'm looking for the validation and the proof that everyone is in that same state, or that people are perpetuating it, or that the world is this way, Because as human beings, many times we want to be right more than we want to be happy. And then when I'm in a really great mood, really bright state, really positive mind frame, I'm seeing all the good in people. I'm seeing smiles, I'm seeing laughter. And when I see someone who's down, I'm like, they've got a lot of joy in them. There's just something that's in the way right now. So it's amazing what happens when we get out of our own way. And when we recognize that everything comes back to us. Everything circles back because we are filtering all of our experiences through a lens within ourselves. Our mind, our experiences, our past, our perceived future, all these things, we're filtering and we're creating our future based off the beliefs and ideas that we have in the moment. And honestly, sometimes that frustrates me because I'm like, well, no, if that's true, that means right now I'm choosing to create a shitty moment. And I don't like that. I'd rather just be in the shitty mood. And it's funny. I've talked with people in my family, about the level of awareness when you do personal development work. You start to become aware of certain things, and you can't unlearn them or forget them because you see that once you know that we are creating our reality and we're responsible for it, you start to go, well, damn it. There were some times it was really nice to point the finger at somebody else or point the blame because then I didn't have to take responsibility, and it seems nice, but it's not. Because anytime we do that in any area of our life, then we are taking the responsibility away, but also our power, our ability to impact our life and not need other people to change or do things or be a certain way for us to be happy and fulfilled and complete. I was listening to a speech, and I believe it was by Jim Quick. I think it was on his podcast, Quick Brain. And he said that happiness is conditional. Oh, no. This was a Matthew McConaughey commencement speech for the University of Houston. That's what it was. He said, happiness is conditional. It's an if-then. If this happens, then I'll be happy. And it's temporary. It's fleeting. And it's based off this constant chase and pursuit of these things. Needing these things to occur. Needing these things to happen. Needing to constantly be chasing the next shiny thing because that's where your happiness lies. And I've been there several times. And if I don't consciously pay attention, I can fall back to that. So, what he says, the other option is joy. That joy is there. Joy is just the celebration of what is. Joy is the celebration of who we are. And that it's always present and it's always there. So looking to dive into joy. And an interesting thing for me was this whole question, all right, how do we do that? Well, I want to be joyful. I can't just be joyful, so how do I do it? And of course, the answer is we can simply be joyful, but we create all these blocks and rules and regulations and, well, no, I need these things to be happy, and the ego wants us to go, well, no, you said you need to have this business and this going on, and you need to be at the Emmys and that's when you'll be happy, so you can't just be joyful, otherwise maybe you'll stop working for those things, or maybe you'll quit. Like, you need those things to drive you. You need that fear, that stress, that anxiety, that insecurity. It's amazing how much we'll hang on to the things we don't like because we feel like it's the way to get to where we're trying to go, or because it's worked, and I'm doing air quotes, it's worked in the past. Well, I've gotten every project done by stressing the fuck out of myself, and so I'm just going to keep doing that. Where we don't see the other side of it, the other opportunity where maybe, and I can almost guarantee, by letting go of the stress and leaning in a way that's joyful, that's celebratory, that's exciting, that's fun, we're much more likely to do better work and be excited about doing the work and excited about living life. So I said, I was like, well, how do we just trigger that joy and how do we turn this on? And one of the best ways I've found, one of the pieces of advice I've heard the most consistently about this is to help others, is the lesson that Susan shared in that speech. She said S.T.A.Y. Because when things are tough, when I'm nervous about getting on stage, when I'm afraid about putting out a new book or product, when I'm afraid of offering advice, because what if they judge me, what if they don't like me, what if the advice doesn't work for them? She goes, I think about S.T.A.Y. And it's an acronym. And that acronym is Stop Thinking It's About You. Stop thinking it's about you. Because when we get all locked in and focused on ourselves and what we are going to get, how it's going to benefit us, how we are going to get more money, more attention, more prestige, more recognition, more sex, more time, more energy. When it's all about us getting and getting and getting, the world starts to get really rough. It just is this. It's like we're looking at the world as if it was built to give us everything we wanted exactly when we wanted it, when in reality, the only thing that we can control is ourselves and not the world. So when we're looking for that external confirmation of that selfish desire for everything to go the way we want it, well, we're bound to get frustrated because there's so many things we can't control in that grand scheme that, well, it's not going how it's supposed to for me. It's like, well, great, okay. How could it be benefiting you and others? Or what could you be doing to benefit others, to share with others, to love on others more? I need this reminder right now in my life. When anxiety gets high, when stress gets high, when difficult emotions rise up a lot, when I feel like I'm just tense, pretty much every time, whether I've consciously thought about it or not, I've been almost fully focused on myself and what I'm doing in my business and my career growth and my health and my needs. I'm doing air quotes there because when it becomes a selfish thing and it becomes a stressful thing, it's when I'm looking for other things or other people to fill those needs, instead of realizing that I can and do fill those needs myself. That the needs that I have, quote unquote, are a decision, because most of the things that we categorize as a need are not a need. You don't need a Lamborghini. So you might need a car to get around, but it doesn't have to be the most expensive sports car in the world. You might say you need your romantic partner to provide emotional support because you can't handle it yourself. And I've done that. And at times I still do. It's full honesty. And what I'm recognizing that as now is a challenge and an opportunity for me to reveal that ability to myself so that I'm not dependent and reliant on someone else to do it for me. Because we hit rough spots in our life, we hit challenging times, we hit difficult moments, and when we feel like we need somebody else, it's kind of like what my mentor Sean Stevenson says. What's the difference between an alcoholic and someone who likes to have a drink every now and then? The alcoholic needs it. So when we are needing from other people, it can create pressure and stress and tension. And there's a big difference between like, hey, you had a rough spot, you hit a rough spot, and you need some support, and that's what friends are for, and family, and good, healthy relationships, versus every time you talk to this person, it's because you're feeling overly stressed and you're needing to emotionally dump and just get it out. And then once you've got it out, you feel better, but it ends up acting as a Band-Aid. And I realized there were areas in my life where I was doing that, or there were certain friends or people or family members I would only call when I was super stressed. I wanted to talk to them about the other stuff. I wanted to connect about life, but when I was doing okay or managing my stress well or feeling good, I'd be like, oh, well, yeah, I'll call them later. Like, there's lots to do. I'm busy. They're probably busy, all this. But really, again, it was I was more focused on me. It was like, well, I got this to do, this to do, this to do. I'll call them later. Because that was more of the selfish thing versus thinking about maybe my friends need me right now. Not just what do I need, because being a taker in any relationship is never good. Because a relationship is about mutual benefit. It's not about business obligation, which I think sometimes we can take it to. It's just about bringing yourself fully and giving fully, and also recognizing that just because you're giving fully doesn't mean that you're being mistreated or you're being walked on or you're giving beyond your means because these people are selfish. It's like that's the recognition that we have that responsibility as individuals to say no. Because being a person who struggled with boundaries and continues to work on creating healthy boundaries, that's a trap we can fall into of, I'm just going to give of myself, but we give beyond what we're comfortable giving or what we know we're capable of, like energy-wise, and then we end up resenting people. And that's not healthy either. So today, I want you to think about where in your life can you stay and where do you need to stay? Where do you need to stop thinking it's about you and start focusing on others? And what's one step you can take today to start making that happen? To take the focus off you and onto people in your life who need it. I love you guys. Thank you all for listening today. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or on Stitcher, and share this podcast out with your friends and following if it was of value to you and you think other people could benefit from it. If you'd like to reach out to me directly to talk about coaching, speaking engagements, or anything about the show, please feel free to reach out at brian@overcominggraduation.com. I love you all. Thank you all for listening, and have a fantastic day.